So this demo is going to show you an uploader or downloader. I'll go ahead and launch one of the examples. And of course, uploaders and downloaders are different in the sense that an uploader is you've got your favorite target and you're looking for a tool to help you grab a ton of sources and slam it into your favorite target, and a downloader from your favorite source allows you to pull data out of your source any way you want and instantly spray it to lots of different targets. But the basic operations are the same. We use this same map designer concept to tackle either the uploading or downloading problem. So I think you'll get it from this quick run through and basic demo. Whether you're uploading or downloading, it's a series of 3 easy steps. The tabs at the top represent the 3 steps. So the blue tab is how I connect to the source. The green tag is how I connect to a target. And then the yellow tab, the map fields, is where a lot of the magic occurs, where I'm mapping the source to the target. So let's go ahead and do one. Source connections. I go to the factory connections in this case. This happens to be one where I get to see the full list of connections that I want. Here's, just for today's demo, I'll grab ASCII delimited. That's a standard text CSV format. Works just fine for the demo. So I picked my connector. I have to name my text file, my CSV file. There are tutorials out there, and I recommend you to go through the tutorials. I'm grabbing tutor1.asc. So I've connected. That's how easy it is. I pick a source, even a source I've never seen before, and I connect to it. Might want to peek inside. We have our data browsers. I'm actually opening up the source file and giving you a full row and column view of all the data in that source, no matter what the source is. I noticed that there's a little problem with metadata. Row 1 here has field names, and I'd like to use those field names but not as data. And so I'll close that down. I'll come over here to the properties where there's a header property. I'll change it from false to true. I'll apply that. I'll open that data browser again here. The blue buttons up here are the power buttons for the blue source connection. I'm opening the source data browser. And there it is, that same data, but this time with the field names lifted up and put as column headings. Looks like very clean data, and I'm happy and ready to go. So I've done step 1, that's finding my source. I click on the green tab to go to step 2, which is my target. Target connections have to be selected also, so let's go ahead and pick a target connection. In this particular instance, I'm going to pick Access 2000, but depending on your uploader or downloader, it'll be whatever target you pick. And so I've named my connector. Now I have to connect to something, and of course with Access 2000 I have to name the file. There has to be an MDB file out there. There's cherokee.mdb, and I have to name a table that I'm going to create in there. So let's just make one called demo2, for example, and I have to connect to it, and I have. So I'm finished with step 2. So obviously if you're going to upload or download, there are sources and targets involved, and that's how easy it is. You've got the source tab and its connection and the blue buttons to let you power dive into that. You've got the target tab and its connections and buttons to allow you to dive into that. And let's move ahead to the map tab. Important here that the map tab is kind of the real kernel of the uploaders and downloaders products, and so it's real important to understand what you're doing. And there's a little clue that says how you do it, and there's even a wizard to help you guide you through it if you need it. And I'm just going to show you, without the wizard, the basic idea. It's a side-by-side mapper, so you've got the source in blue and all the fields down here, the target in green and all the fields down here. I happen to have picked a new target. Sometimes targets already exist, in which case you'd see field names running down this column. In the example of the demo I'm giving you right now, it doesn't exist. So this is a pretty typical conversion problem. I've got data coming in a source. I want to quickly get it over to a target. I don't want to go hire programmers. I don't want to go take my expensive programmers and put them on a silly conversion job. I just want to do it. And so that's the idea behind the data tools. The results you want in minutes. So let's see what we want to do. Maybe I want to map some of these fields across. Maybe the company field is a field that I want, and maybe the payment field, and I'm trying to figure out the company and how much they owe. And so that's how easy it is to do mapping. I've said that's the source, and that's how I want to build up the target. Maybe I'm happy. Let me show you one other thing. I can delete that, and I'll go ahead and delete those expressions and pretend I'm starting again. The target field expressions can get quite complicated. You can create your own fields. You can map constants into that field. There's a very powerful expression builder if you want to get into that. But let's just say you wanted to get the data across, which is the problem a lot of times. I can come over here to this asterisk, which is kind of the all fields, bring it over here, drop it into place, and I have basically with one snap created an entire data conversion program. I've just said I want all the fields from my source to go into my target. It's gone ahead and picked relevant data types. I can go ahead and change those. So maybe I want to make a long as the data type because I know that that first field is a numeric field over here, the account number. I know that because I can open my source data browser and look in the account field here, and there's a number field. So that's pretty safe, and this is the power of the data browsers. I'm able to look at the data, so I can I can see my metadata, my field names. I can see my data. I know what's going on. I know what I want to map it to over here. I'm just bringing all the fields across. And I can change my data types. I don't have to take all the fields. So if I don't want the balance field, I can knock the balance field out. So I can do some control of that. But basically, that's how easy mapping is. Now I want to do it. There's some buttons up here to help you do it. I can validate the map to see if it's okay. Yeah, the computer's telling me it's okay. And I can run it. So voila. You saw a little blink on the screen there. It just ran. Down here it says 100 records read, 100 converted. Not the biggest file. But this is really fast program, not just fast to create your mapping designs, but fast to actually run and do the uploads and downloads. So I'm done. Here's something that's really fun. Just like we had a source data browser to look at the source, I have a target data browser where I can look inside the target. So I'm opening that up. I'm actually looking inside the Access database target, having just created that target, and seeing all the 100 rows and many columns. In fact, the payment column is the last column because we dropped the balance column. And so I've actually created on the fly a quick access database and a relevant table in it. So that's really good news. I can open up a log browser here and see the log in case there were any errors. There's a lot more to it, as you can imagine, but look at that. I could have received a file I've never seen in my life. I could have done a couple of clicks and a couple of drags, whacked it over to Access. That could be any target. It could be your favorite target. I'm happy with the mapping expressions. I punch run, and I am done. And so that's why we say results you want in minutes. There is, of course, more to the product. This was a brief demo to give you a 1, 2, 3 run through of how easy uploads and downloads can be. There are other demos available, and they drill into substantial detail of each of the steps that I just went through. So I invite you to look through those if you're interested to get more information, and good luck with the tools.